Hello, I'm Mrs. Mercer, here to teach your Sunday Level 26, Day 4 lesson for today. On the following slides, you're going to read the sound cards. Don't forget to say the short and the long sounds for each vowel. Remember, if your child makes an error or the student makes an error, you would say, let's trace. This is the letter D, which says D as in dog, and then you would want them to trace it 3 times with 2 fingers. D, D, D. Okay? I'm going to go quickly through these. As always, you can pause the video if you need more time. Remember the short and the long sound. The short and the long sound. Short and the long sound. Short and the long sound. Make sure you're saying R, not er. The short and the long sound. Okay, so now we are on to the spell sound section, which will go right here in your student notebook. I'm going to say a sound, you're going to repeat the sound, and then you're going to write the letter or letters that make that sound. First sound, X. Go right here on this first line. Ooh. Ong. And you might need to pause the video after each section to give yourself time to write. Ch. Ank. Or. Okay, as previously, I just want to demonstrate if you see that your child or student made an error, you would say, for example, I see orange. I wanted, and you try to do it right when you see the error, not after, but do the best you can. I see orange. I wanted ong. Can you tell me what letters spell ong? And then hopefully one of the students or the student that made the error will give you the correction. Right. O-N-G spells ong. If you don't have O-N-G for ong, cross out what you have and write it correctly. Then everybody, the entire group, write O-N-G beside it, if you can, on your paper. Oops. 2 more times for extra practice. Okay, that's the error correction. We like to see that it was crossed out. So if we start to see from their student notebooks that there's a pattern of them mistaking J and G, which is common, we know we need to do a little lesson to rectify that. Okay. Now, on these bottom two lines, if you have room, and if not, try to squeeze them in maybe over here on this side, over here on spell words. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Can you tell me 2 ways to spell w? W. So write down 2 ways to spell w. W. Pause the video to give yourself enough time. Okay. Now, can you spell O 2 ways? 2 ways to spell O. You hear that sound. Okay, and I'm just going to go through this with you and kind of. So, did you put for your 2 ways to spell W, W and WH? Okay, if not, cross out what you had and add those 2. Those are 2 ways that you can spell the W sound. Now, O, for the long O sound, we've learned 2 ways in which to spell that. One is simply an O, and the other one is O consonant E. That dash right there stands for consonant. And that's the magic E, which jumps over the consonant to make that vowel long. If you don't have these, cross them out and write them correctly. Okay. All right, so now we're on the read words section. I'd like for you to pause the video and take a moment to read these words out loud. Make sure if you're sounding out that you say the whole word afterwards. Okay, you can't just say made. You need to come back and say made. Okay. Pause the video, read that, and now we're on to the next. We are going to review our touch spelling. As you know, if you're right-handed, you'll have your right hand with a pencil or a pen, preferably a pen, so that we can see your errors. And you will use your left hand to touch spell, starting with your pinky. If you're left-handed, your pen will be in your left hand, and you'll start with your thumb, following the left to right sequence of how we read and spell words in our language. Okay, so now I'm going to dictate some words to you, and you're going to write them in this section here, the spell words section. I know it's 2 big columns, but if you can write them smaller, that works, but whatever works for you. I'm going to say the word, you will repeat the word, and then you will touch spell the word, then you will write it. Okay, so that's the pattern. Repeat, touch spell, write. First word, bit. And you may need to pause after each word. Second, bite. And write these going down the column. Flunk. Witch. Broom. Smart. Done. Win. wine. That is our last word. Please take a moment to look over your words. Are they spelled correctly? Can you read them? Okay, now we're going to check. Are these the words that you have written? Are they written this way? If not, cross them out now and write them correctly. Okay, now we're going to read going down the column together. So read these out loud. Pause the video and take a moment to read these words. Now we're to the spell words, phrases, and sentences section. I'm going to dictate or read a sentence to you. You're going to repeat it. You will tap it out, one word per finger. You will use the same fingers that you use for touch spelling to do so. And then you will write it. You'll need to pause the video after each sentence to have enough time to write the sentence. Here is your first sentence. Beth will hide in the car. You need to repeat it, tap it out, and then write it. Pause the video to give yourself time to write. Next sentence, toss that stone in the creek. Repeat, tap, and write. Pause the video to give yourself enough time to write. Now that you're finished, use the caps to check and edit your sentences. C for correct capitalization. Is the beginning of your sentences, are they capitalized? Are names of people capitalized? A, accuracy. Is there good spacing in between your words? Do you have the correct number of words in each sentence? You should know this from tapping it out. P, punctuation. Do you have the correct ending marks or any other punctuation needed in the sentence? And last, spelling. Are your words spelled correctly? Does anything look a little odd? If you think something isn't spelled correctly, fix that now. So take a moment to do your editing. And now we're going to look over these together. Check your sentences. Is this what you have written? If you made an error, cross it out, don't erase, and write the correction above or below or wherever you can in the sentence. Once you're done making corrections, if you have any, I want you to read your sentences out loud. You'll need to pause the video. Now we're going to our new learning. So we're going to learn some new sounds, and today we're going to learn some blends. So today it's blend card -SK. Okay, so we have this blend card. And the example word for SK is ask. Can you say ask? And can you say sk, 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 sk? Okay, so that is the sound that sk makes. And the dash is usually an indicator that it comes after a short vowel. Okay, so I want you to trace 3 times. Sk, sk, sk. And then on your paper, in the new learning, I want you to write -SK 3 times on the small lines. Okay. And then now we're going to do ft, ft. So the next blend card we're going to learn and the word that goes with ft is left. Left. Okay? It's kind of hard to say that right. But anyway, we're going to trace it. So you're going to trace it 3 times using 2 fingers. And then you're going to write it in the new learning section right there. 3 times while saying the sound. It's easier to say it in a word than in isolation. Okay, when you're finished with that, oops. Now we're going to practice reading words that have this blend in it. These blends, I should say. So pause the video and read out loud words that have the sk at the end and words that have the ft at the end. Okay? Pause the video now and read those out loud. Not silently. Oh, oops. Went ahead real quick. All right, so now we're going to do some words. We're going to spell some words with these blends at the end. We're going to practice spelling them. So I'm going to give you a word, just like in the spell word section. You're going to repeat it. You're going to touch spell it, and then you're going to write. Okay? All right. First word, ask. Repeat, touch spell, write. And you might have to put a couple of words per line. Mask. You'll have to pause probably after each word. Risk. Dusk. Brisk. Left. Raft. Shift. Craft. And gift. Look over your words. Check for any misspellings. Does every word have a vowel? Okay, when you're done with that, going to check. So look at your words. Is this how you spelled the words you were given? If not, cross it out and write it correctly. Once you've done your error corrections, read these words out loud. The words you've just written out loud. Pause the video to do so. And now we're on to our repeated reading. So we have a read aloud today. And this is a continuation of part 2. I'm trying to get my face out of the way here. Part 2 of On the Bike Hike. And we're going to read this a couple of times just for extra practice and to build our fluency. So I'm going to click through these quickly. You'll need to pause on each slide to give yourself enough time to read. Sorry about that. You'll have to pause it when that box isn't there. Okay. Pause to give yourself time to read this. Pause to give yourself enough time to read this as well. And this is the last page for your read aloud. That is the end of our lesson for today. Thank you and have a great day.